Bolivia is a colourful land of passionate, joyous and diverse people. A unique territory in its contrasts, both geographical and cultural. From ancestral customs and a Jesuit missionary legacy to the complex political and social challenges of today. A mixture of animated and jubilant customs, rites, and a resilient faith shape the people of this place and builds their identity day by day. Although in recent years Bolivia ranks amongst the region's fastest growing economies, the reality is that far from the large urban centres, development is negligible. As if frozen in time, the landscape of the town of Tortura reveals the isolated reality of its inhabitants. Economic difficulties abound, employment and training opportunities remain scarce. In this context, with its sights fixed on hope and charity, the local church dedicates itself to serving children in the communities that surround the town.
It is a complex reality. These are children who come from fairly dysfunctional families, children that do not receive much support from their parents. If there were no boarding school, they would leave them to work in their field, taking care of the goats or taking care of the cowshed, or doing other things except studying.
The boarding schools were created in response to a need of the population. Many people in the countryside do not have the possibility of owning a townhouse, and thereby access to better education.
We mainly help them here with their education, the things that one should learn at home. We teach them to be clean, to be neat, to study, and we sometimes even also work in the garden.
We get up at 6, and by 7 we have eaten our breakfast. From 6 to 7, we also do the house chores that we have to do. And at 7, we go to school. Afterwards, we eat, do our homework, crafts, and we go to sleep at 9.
Of course, it is at first hard for them, because they come from the countryside and are not used to living like this. Everything ordered, clean, and run according to a timetable. It is very difficult for some, especially those who do not speak Spanish. They first learn Spanish here, and then they adapt to the environment. It is difficult for them, but most are content to have been given the opportunity to study and are happy here. They help us do our difficult homework. And if we do not have homework, they give us other things to do to keep us learning. We reinforce their reading and writing abilities here, which are very poor, as well as mathematics and Spanish, because language difficulties inhibit understanding. So we support them a lot in this area to improve their learning skills.
The more able children help the less able ones to understand. There are others whom we have to help with everything, though, because they haven't had the upbringing, good manners, and all such things. We sometimes even have to teach them to wash their clothes, to clean themselves, all of that. Yes, we try to help them and support them. On many occasions, children who have already left come back to express their gratitude for the help they had received in the boarding school. They are grateful, very grateful, even for the occasional scolding. They appreciate all the help they received at the boarding school.
First, I did not want to stay. Then I got used to it. Now I don't want to leave.
So it is for us a response to a need and an opportunity to provide a formation as well as evangelization. Naturally, we don't force them, but we do ask them to participate in all the activities that we run here.
We try to help them develop values that will encourage them to love their faith. In turn, they learn to live by them as the Church asks of us. They welcome this formation. We also see to it that they are baptized and receive all the sacraments.
As of today, we have 15 boarding schools. We also have healthcare centers and, whenever possible, hospitals. When we go out to the communities, we try to help with medicines, sometimes with the food that we bring. But yes, we are limited by our financial resources because, unfortunately, we do not receive any support from the government. What we have to do is to seek help from the faithful as well as from other institutions. More especially, and to keep up the social work, we have to look to financial institutions abroad, especially church institutions, such as Aid to the Church in Need.
Because of the hardships of rural life, villagers migrate to the city in search of better opportunities. This phenomenon has been so marked in Bolivia that it has led to major demographic shifts to the major cities, indeed to a growth that has resulted in a planning chaos that is difficult to manage. The Church endeavors to help by working with the authorities.
Family migration from the countryside is a phenomenon of the last 15 to 20 years. It is very difficult for many families as they encounter a new reality. Many find it difficult to adapt to city life. This is a great challenge for the Church and an opportunity as we try to accompany them on their chosen path. There is a lot of migration to the city. Cochabamba is a synthesis of all of Bolivia. The greatest challenge comes from the enormous diversity, as well as something that is characteristic of this city and also unique in Bolivia, and that is the very strong religious presence.
The work that priests and nuns carry out in the different parishes is done with great energy in numerous, very disadvantaged areas. There are many neighborhoods that do not have water, electricity, or sewage. People live in very poor conditions.
The religious community is essential for us in Cochabamba. For the characteristics of consecrated men and women is the joy they bring, as well as an understanding of the deeper meaning of life.
Welcome to the brave OTB, founded on May 8, 1990. This is the San Antonio de Buenavista neighborhood. That's why this little chapel is called San Antonio. We Salesian missionary sisters run the church and the little chapel. Every Sunday at 4 in the afternoon we get together, we have our meeting of missionary children, communion, confirmation, and at 6 in the afternoon we celebrate the Eucharist. The charisma of the Salesian missionaries is to facilitate the experience of God for others, especially for young people. They are at an age where everything changes, a time of decisions, an age of confusion, during which they need to be accompanied. Many young people come with many wounds and try to cover them up because who speaks of love today? Who speaks of affection? Who listens to their stories? Who speaks of reconciliation? They might say, I hate my father, I hate my brother, and these are childhood wounds that they keep. They are often confused, having to deal with much noise, many voices, many options. And women who all of a sudden might lose their dignity rush in search of love because they cannot find it at home. We are in a neighborhood where there are many suicides. Many young people take their lives because they cannot find meaning. We want to reach out to those young people.